Good evening, fellow idiots. Hope everyone's feeling okay. Decided to add more to the Space Taxi clone. I've been messing around with the ZX Next again today. And I'm making a bit of progress with the Next. And in fact, depending how I feel, I may do a setup video for Next. Like right now, after this. Depending how this goes. Straight away though, I added the platform there, as you might see, and just straight away worked. I couldn't believe it, to be honest. I'll show you the routine. I wrote this just now, but I wasn't sure I was going to get it working, but it worked the very first thing I try. I hope it's not goofy. Although I've just realised, I don't think I need to do that either. I can load that directly there. Wait. No. But that one I can. Let's just try that. Because notice I've done that up there and I didn't realise until just now that I could do that. So I'll check that. I've got C-Spec back, and in case anyone wondered what happened there, I got it I messed around getting it working with the Next, and if you remember when I came online yesterday, I just couldn't get it to work with my existing dev environment, but I somehow deleted the plugin. You have to download C-Spec. I think it's a DZOG C-Spec plugin. Put it in the C-Spec folder. I think that's going to work. Try it. Yeah, that's all good. And the gravity as well. Not the gravity, the collision. I had a little fiddle with that. I can't get it perfect because of the velocity. It varies. So as you can see, sometimes you land heavily into the, almost like spongy. But I mean, there is one way around that. What I can think of is to snap it. So if it goes into this collision, snap it upwards a bit. It's quite complicated, and I do want to keep it simple. So for now, I'm happy with that collision. It just depends how fast you move into how you land on it. Yeah, it's okay. Doesn't matter. Works alright. There's another problem. If you remember, we've got pre-shifted sprites. So although that card has 2 cells width, it's actually 3 cells width. Also, the third problem is if you stick to the side of it or underneath, there is no way of. The game doesn't know how to handle that yet. Hey Microman, hey Vulcan, good to see you. Yeah, so I was really happy with this part of the code though. I've just written to draw a sort of tiled platform. So that's the whole platform graphic there. Can't really see it very well, but just 1 0 1 0, and then some chunks of solid. And it might not be the best way of doing it, but this is the very first way I tried it and it worked, so why change it? That we all know what that's doing. It's checking for the end of the platform's array. This checks, I mean, all the platforms are alive, but we can set them to false to make them invisible. And this is the width. Luckily, it's already in bytes, so I didn't have to do any calculation there. This is what I call an iterator. So I start it from 0 and I add 1 to it, because again we're working in bytes only here. 1 cell is 1 byte, so it's pretty straightforward really. But this is good because this can scale up. If I wanted it to be 16 by 16, I could add 2 there, and you know this would already contain the number 6. That would be nothing to do with it actually, but if it was 16 by 16, I'd have to come up with some way of doing the second layer. But if it was 8 if it's 16 by 8, for example, you'd do that. That's fine. I think 8 by 8 looks alright, to be honest. I was able to draw some okay looking graphics. I think the platforms look okay. And there was some variety. I drew one that looked like a brick and it looked alright. But I ended up settling with this sort of net looking thing. There's lots of ways I could go today with this. But to be fair, each of them are quite boring. Like, one is, yes, the downwards collision works fine. And it detects it and lands you there. But like I keep saying, if I fly into the top there, I'm buggered. The whole game's screwed. It's stuck. So that's something that needs to be fixed, and it's not that hard. We can work it out by the velocity. If the velocity is negative, we're moving upwards. So when we land, we want to make sure velocity is a positive number. Then set a ball saying it's landed. And if not, this collision basically means you're dead. We don't have to handle that collision. We just need to create a death. So actually, the only collision we need to refine is the downwards one. Just to say, yes, this is a downwards collision. And in that case, in that case, this part here where we're already handling the collision, shouldn't set that. That should be the ball to say we've landed. Well, let's keep that and just make a landed one right next to it. Or grounded is probably a better word. Excuse me. Yeah, so we're always going to say yes, we've collided for now, but we set the velocity to 0 here, but before we do that, we want to check if it's positive or negative. And I must admit, this is something I've never done before. We need to use them bloody flags, the S and V. So delete there. We need to come up with. I need to figure this out to do this properly. There is another way. Let's do it. Let's do the quick version, quick fix version. So I'm all for quick fix. When I check collision here in the update loop, I could just as easily do this on apply gravity. Which is what gives us our downward motion. So I think probably best to do it at the bottom. Let's try that. This way we should be able to fly straight through the platforms if we're going up. Ah, no, this isn't going to work, but I'm going to try it anyway. But apply gravity gets called every frame. So I think it will still work here, but it'll still crack. It'll still do the exact same thing, yeah. So nothing changed by doing that actually. And I'm going to change that back. That was a quick fix. If there was a move down routine, that's what I was thinking there was at first. Yeah, if there had been a move down, we could have done it in there. But to be honest, I don't want to drive straight through the platform in the upwards direction anyway. Well, there's no getting around it. I need to know if Vy is positive or negative. And that's easier said than done. Ooh, that might work, Volk. Although, have a quick, while I've got your attention, I've I've got a mystery thing on the negative for the movement, and I wonder whether this will throw the whole thing off. Oh, where is it? Yeah, I had to times it by 2 for the left movement, which is the negative one, to get the same speed as the ×1 version there. And it's clearly something to do with it being negative. Anyway, I'll try that. That sounds like a really good idea. Would you do that by and masking it, or would you use that bit command, which I've never used? I could always and mask it, can I? Okay, so wait, I want to know if it's positive, yeah. So then we've landed. I guess I could, rather than making another label, I could actually put this. What's that meant to say? HL. Could probably get away with putting that there. And then I know that's wrong because signed doesn't mean that, does it? But I mean, I don't know the word for the highest bit. Signing bit. Bit commands test the high bit, yeah? You'd and it, would you, Vulcan? Okay. Called the sign bit. Okay, sign bit. Set. Let's be a bit more professional. Not set. There we go. I could just be even clearer, can I? Okay, so if I want to set the, I don't think I need this. If he collides with a platform and it's not moving downwards, I'm just going to kill him. So we'll get rid of that. We'll just jump Z. I was thinking of bit, yeah, but I've never used it. Is that all you have to do, is it? Okay. That sounds good. Let me finish this off and I'll comment it so it's there. I'll just leave it commented out. Actually, I'm going to do player kill. I've done that last time. Kill player. And the only one that doesn't have player at the start. To make a sound. Alright. So there's the sort of first crack at it. Let's see if that works first. Hang on. I don't know how that worked. That seems odd. Like it didn't compile. Because how did that actually work? I forgot to include the ball check in the movement. How on earth did that work? Look, do move. Yeah, here. I thought I deleted the reference to that. Not the reference, where we set it in the collision. In most game engines, when I've used this sort of philosophy, there's been a ray cast rather than doing this target position crap. You just shoot a line, invisible line, like half of the sprite's width, height, sorry. Assuming you're starting from the center of the sprite. If you're starting from the top left, it would be the entire sprite's height. And if that line hits anything, or the platform, then you just stop moving. Can't really do that in this one. Don't know how. But this is near enough the same thing. Shoots a whole rectangle out instead. Good evening, Moz. Clockwise check. The dreaded cool kill player. Where was I? Oh yeah, I was baffled as to why the heck it worked. Because I got rid of the other ball in here. I do not know how that stopped me moving. I'm in fact going to delete. Where's it gone? Oh yeah. Oh, that hasn't completed this time. Alright. It might go straight through the floor. No. Oh, I'm stuck in the editor. I hate that. It's still stopping us though. It's behaving exactly the same. I find that bizarre. It's almost like I've just changed nothing. I'm just gonna bung this into the bunging this in here just to see if it comes out with a noise. I just feel like it's not even responding to the changes. Oh my god. Hope you're awake now then. Beat debugging, that's me. That's what I should change my name to, man. Redeemed a timeout, hello clan member. I've got to add some things in there. I saw this guy, it was Shalan actually, had a race. There was like Bobble Bobble, some other people having a race down the bottom. You could spend your coins. Beep beep. That's my road noise for my RSK skiing game. Yeah, it looks fun that, but I didn't know how the hell to do anything similar to it. If I have to code my own, I'm going to make one with Donkey Kong climbing like Donkey Kong Jr. climbing the thing, race. Does he? Yeah. Do you happen to know if he coded that himself, or was it available somehow, or did he? Is it like a thing you download and then you put your own sprites in? Help, yeah. Yeah, it did look tricky. I spent about half an hour to an hour fiddling around trying to do it. Didn't get anywhere, so gave up. How the hell was it working though? Before I put grounded into the move. It looks like that's not working as well, because we should have got a sound when I hit the top of the platform. You know, when I was moving upwards. Yeah, there should have been a sound there. Oh, I got through it somehow. Maybe it's working a little bit. Oh, that's because of that sideways thing. That free whip thing. I think it might be a case of gravity. Oh, so I do set the velocity to 0, even if we do player kill. I was just wondering why I was getting stuck to that top. I mean, there's no way, there's nothing in the controls that make you go down. You just do that by gravity. But the gravity is the first thing that gets applied every frame. Of course, it won't call do move if he's grounded though. He must be set as grounded right now. Yeah, that's right, it does. But if you remember, I've just changed it to grounded, so it should only be getting set to true if you were moving down. Ah, of course, that would be true even if it was 0, wouldn't it? That's going to have something to do with it. If the top bytes are 1, jump away to kill him. Not bit, I mean, sorry. If it's a 0, I want to make sure the whole thing is not 0, basically. Tricky. Tricky without raycasting. I actually feel like I need to do the 16-bit compare somehow. Like I need to check if that number is positive or negative. But I need to include the 0 as the negative. That's the tricky bit. Ooh. Into Discord. Oh, thanks, Micro. I've got some zipped up on my system. Just haven't had time to trawl through them. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I know that I will be able to get them back, but I just haven't really had the time to do it. Yeah, it's annoying about the jar. I was annoyed with that, Moz. I think it's something to do with when I turn my computer off. I don't know. Just empties. Yeah, that might be it, Vulcan. Whoa, cheers, Moz. Who's this dude? We're checking that 1 byte though, 1 bit. Also, it's a 16-bit signed number. So it's a bit different to that. Goes up to flipping like 28,000 or 32,000 or something, doesn't it? That's what I've done here. See, we've got the movement all working with 16-bit. Ah, hang on, that's only on the... No, it isn't. It's on both axes. We could try the bit. Why not? I think it might have the exact same problem as that, though, mightn't it? Yeah, but the only thing is, when it's stopped and it's travelling at 0, I need to also check for that, basically, because I can't keep setting... Well, that's another problem, isn't it? Not quite finished this, because if it gets to 0... Well, then again, I am worrying unnecessarily, because if we clip the bottom of the thing like that, we just want to kill the player. Don't need to worry about getting him moving again. I need to be able to make sure when he is landing, you know, that we can tell the difference between him landing and hitting. I'll try this bit thing for now. That's the first step. What is it? Bit? That? Bit 7. Bit A. Let me look it up on Z80. Because I knew this instruction existed, but I have never looked at it. Bit NA. Oh, okay. Bit 7A. That makes more sense now. And then check the Z flag. So maybe if I only jump. This is the thing. I need to fire off this one time. Set it to true. But then if it stopped. It's weird how it works already, really, when you think about it. Because set it to not grounded every single frame. And this works on the target position, so it has to be trying to move. Like the target has to be colliding. Because it probably just is. It's sitting right on it and colliding with it. Do that instead. By the way, a number greater than 32767 is negative. It only sets A flag. Opposite of the nth bit is written into the Z flag. Opposite of the nth. Huh. Glad I read that. It's 0, not negative. And if we get to there, then we can kill the player instead. What's going on with that? Well, it's much cleaner than what we had before. I'm not sure it'll work, but give it a try. I made a huge step forward on the net. Oh, shh. Bloody hell. It went to play a kill then. Let's just type it in Z instead. Fell straight through it. Seemed to clip it for a second. Oh, I got rid of that 0 velocity thing. That grounded can do the 0 velocity. Oh my god. Let's just set the border instead. Yeah, I made an absolutely massive step in the next direction today. I set up a whole environment. I followed a tutorial. So when we took off, it tried to kill us because the velocity was going upwards. So that proves it works. What's happened is we were still colliding when we started moving upwards. Um, this might have to go at the top of the update loop instead. So that then in here I can check if I'm already grounded, don't kill us. Might be enough just to do that. In fact, probably won't be enough, but try it. Okay. Yeah, still the same problem. Uh, hmm. Is it something simple like where I'm setting grounded false? I need to do it after the movement. I don't actually know, but I'm going to quickly try it. As long as we do it before the collision, it shouldn't matter. I mean, that's pretty much the same as what we had before because I had it right at the top of this routine. I can't see it really working, but okay, so we can take away from that one, and now we can't. What happened was the first time when there wasn't enough velocity to push us down enough into the platform. We were able to take off before it triggered. There is a way around this, but my pea brain can't think of it at the moment. If I get stuck for too long, I may turn this into the next setup video because I've got it fresh in my mind. I had to do a hell of a lot to set it up. I now have a dev environment where I can run it from command line and it will push my next code into the SD card and then open CSpec in next mode. All I have to do is browse to my file. But with that said, I tried to write a sprite drawing routine on the next and I couldn't. I couldn't figure out where the screen memory was. If I draw into the 4000 hex part, it didn't seem to show up. Of course, I was using the 1 byte per pixel, 256 color mode or whatever it is. So it doesn't. It must, as far as I can tell, it won't even need attributes, will it? Like in terms of color attributes, it's done on a per pixel basis. None of my code was working anyway. At least I got it set up. And funnily enough, I could write text to the screen without existing root. This is a bit of a git though, this one. Because it's very important to know if we're landing or colliding. Why am I setting that through there? Oh, I'm not. Hmm. Ah, I could exit out of here if it's not negative. You know, if we're moving upwards, and then do a separate check. Right at the beginning. Right spell. Oh dear. Error. They're set grounded. Alright. Does it collide? No. I think it has to be the other way. It says the opposite of bit 7 gets put into the Z. Yeah, I think that's going to work. Well, hey, we've made some progress. Because that routine only cares about landing on platforms. Oops. That's a totally different issue of worrying about whether it goes off the screen or not. Next sprites. Oh, well done, Moz. You're a fountain of knowledge, man. I'm loading that up now. Although I think I've read this. Yeah, I have read this whole thing today. Twice. It doesn't actually tell you. I see about the attributes, yeah. But how do I create a draw routine? I also looked up the memory map and it says that the screen is still at 4000 hex. But the thing is, that screen wouldn't be big enough to hold sprites. I found out you have to use layer 2, something called layer 2. That houses all your sprites that are 256 colours, but that's as far as I've got. I haven't been able to get any further, and I actually wrote for help and didn't get any yet. Might as well check that actually and see if I got a message back while I'm here. It's a shame because there's a channel viewer called Emook who wrote a sprite editor for Next. I found a sprite editor. It's a shame he doesn't drop in anymore, because he said he'd be happy to help me with Next. Obviously, I just never did any Next games. But I mean, there's been so much interest shown in the Next. Surely some games are going to get sold for real money, you know, proper games. Okay, cheers, Moz. Trying to see if I've got a reply to this. Nah, see, yeah, I've got my question there. It's quite well written. I've put some code in there and everything that I've done. I haven't got a reply yet. I'll look at your other link later on. Let's mess around a bit more. Because we've actually just done a step forward there. Because I can always write another routine for killing the player. And I don't even have to use that target position. I will just use his current position. I was thinking about doing that current position thing for the thing, but I think my target position is mitigating the amount you fall into the platform there. It would be even worse without it. What can I do about that? Look, I'll do that again. That. I know why that's caused. I'm sure you do as well. But I'm damned if I can think of a way around that, other than doing some sort of per pixel check to see if there's a pixel there. Zeus isn't as bad as I thought, is it? It's just that them directives are different. Yeah, still got the same. Add an offset. I was thinking that micro, but the problem is I never know what position the car's going to be in that like 3 byte chunk. I haven't even got a value for current frame actually. If you remember, we done some sort of maths to work it out. We divided it by a fifth of itself, didn't we? Got 5 different frames. How do we do that? Here it is. I'd have to do something similar to that to know where it is. But that's got to be done inside the collision check. You know, it's a real brutal task. I think I may just live with it, and then eventually, in the past, I wrote a routine that would check the colors of pixels. So when you detect a collision, before you finally call like the kill player routine or whatever, you then do a further check pixel by pixel. It was quite hard though, and even on I had access to like commands that would do multiplication, division, modulus, everything, you know, straight away for me. It would iterate through 2D array, you know, 2 of them, check the pixels. It's not going to be so easy doing it on a Z80. But at its rawest level, we have to somehow say, is there is a 1 or a 0 in that block. Well, I would absolutely love to do that. If only it didn't have that cell, the you know, the movement to the left and right. It's made it so hard. I guess that's why Space Taxi didn't come out on the spec. I mean, to mitigate that, I could reduce the platform width collision, you know, and the car, or the car, which is basically what Microman just suggested. But you're still guessing. It'll be much better than what it is. Yeah, that sounds like a good plan, Micro. But what about when there's a load of empty space to the left instead of to the right? Or do you need to just do both somehow? Maybe that's not impossible. But look at the car sprite itself. Funny enough, it does matter if it's going left or right. It's actually slightly different. Let's just worry about the right for now. I guess at some point we're going to be stopped. We need to set the velocity 0 on X when we're colliding, because then it would actually fix the car into its spot and we would know where it was. You might see the car hop about a bit. That's the thing. It'd be nice to try that. Where is it? Just try it. Just try. Just banging that straight in. What I find weird is, if I'm moving to the right, it should be doing that thing. Isn't that weird how you don't get a snap where the car snaps? It's almost too smooth. I can't quite imagine how it works. Shame about that stuff though. I'm just going to make life easy, I think. There's car width. Let's add 2 instead. I think this will look much more accurate a lot of the time, but it will still be wrong. So when you're going right side. Okay. How do you know? How does it know to stay on the right bit? Surely it would cycle through, like when you move to the next. If you move right, as the bike rolls over, you would snap back to where it should be. But there's 5 bits in between, of course, as well. You're moving to the right and up, and then you hit something above you or below you, right and down. I reckon this will work. It just won't be dead accurate. It'll be a lot better than it was. I mean, there's nothing worse than you see the car colliding, but then you don't get a collision. That's like the worst thing. That's what might happen here. Oops, I just shrunk. Alright, so and land there. We could do a bit more up thrust maybe. This is working much better there. That seems pretty nice. It's a lot better. What about the left? Ah, still too far to the left. I see where you think your logic is working there, Volk. That's good. I've only actually done the right side. But with the left, I need to add one. Add one. Voilà. Got problems. Oh, it's this crap. You try and play the game, and it's put you back in the text editor. I already knew this was going to work. This, that bit there. This is looking pretty smart now. Oh, it's hard to be accurate, but it's working a lot better than it was, put it that way. Perfect. Yeah, sweet. He's lost forever now. Yeah, it does get a little complicated, but we've generalized it a bit. It's not perfect, but it's definitely playable like that. These label code blocks. Okay. I don't even have to spell pass. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. No problem, Volk, my man. No problem. Sometimes I get worried about putting comments because I forget to change them after I change the code. But that's pretty much locked in now. And also, it's not overly commented. Change that quite. The way I look at that quickly is I can just see here, right, that's the platform, and I've added its width or its height, so I knew I was doing the bottom of the platform. For example. What next? I think I'm happy with that, you know. I'm happy with the landing. This should probably be named now. Check player is landing. Um, just in case there's some other thing you can land on. Can you land on anything else though? Check landing. Got us in the wrong box. I'll say check landing collision. Yeah, that's very true, Micro. Yeah, I can hover over that function and find out what it does just by reading that, can't I? Very true. One day when I'm very confident in my routines, I will comment everything, you know, before I even write the routine. And I'll do it like Spectrum did, you know, where it's like a whole bunch of generic routines that you can use in every single game without ever renaming anything. But sadly, I'm not at that level. I may never reach it, but that's where I aspire to get fairly soon. But having said that, you know, that's not the be all and end all making things generic. The be all and end all is getting stuff working and making the game fun in a reasonable time. And if you can enjoy yourself in the process, all the better. Uh, I'm just doing that where I'm browsing through the code over and over, even though it already works. I can't think of what to do next. I think I'm gonna have to delete these colons so I can close down so I can close that label down. Awesome. And we didn't even need that now. That's good. A bit more simple. Yeah, if you look, we had to write this next to gravity to work it out. It got really, really confusing because it's a mixture of full 16-bit numbers, and then sometimes we only take the high bit to actually move in. I'm surprised we achieved that in the short space of time that we did. To be, wouldn't like to write that again from scratch. I mean, I guess I should do the def now as well. Def is remarkably similar to what we just did, probably a little bit simpler. Do some renaming. I named it back to what. Funny, this could cause us a problem because I notice because of the velocity, you can end up partly into a platform. So if I just check if we're colliding, obviously I'm going to change I'm going to change TX to be actually PX. We could end up with still the same problem that we have. where as soon as I take off, we'll still be deemed to be colliding. Anyway, that'll be the same. Change all TX to TX. Bye. Just realised I didn't change like these little names. So they can remain the same actually. Change it before I forget. Okay. So this time it's colliding with an actual platform. I'm panicking because we're still going to have that same. Looks like Holly. I wondered who he looked like. Unfortunately, it's so small on my screen I can't see anything. I can't see the dude, but Holly's my favourite character in Red Dwarf sometimes. When I ever watch him back, I get sad every time it changes into the female Holly. Oh, she was okay as well. There's a fun fact I remember hearing from the writers of Red Dwarf. Holly was never going to be in it, and they started doing like filming and everything, or rehearsals or whatever, and they found it was a bit boring and there was like hardly any budget. And Holly was a guy they knew or a writer or something, and he suggested it just for a laugh. He said, "Why don't you just put just my head in as the computer, and I'll be like a cockney." And they just liked the idea. I love it. Let's just do the background. Doesn't really what we do. I've got a horrible feeling it'll just be as soon as we take off, just like we did before. Whatever, anyway. Oh. Oh, okay. It just doesn't collide whatsoever with it. Landing gear for sure will come later. that'll just be a case of adding an offset on the when we check the target position one. So you're moving downwards. I expected this to be triggering too much, but it actually didn't trigger whatsoever. I mean, I try to sound just to make sure. I am very tempted just to oh, bloody hell. That was weird because it hadn't actually collided. Is one not red? I thought one was red. Yeah, I think 5 is cyan. So surely, if the sound happened, why didn't the border change on the other go? I mean, beforehand. Okay, it did. That's a bad thing. I just wonder why it didn't change the first time. Maybe one's blue. Didn't think of. So that's strange because on the other one I used the target to attempt to stop you from falling into the platform, stopping halfway through. I know it does occur, and that is because of the velocity, but I didn't know a way around that. I mean, I've got one really goofy solution. I could set in the platforms, I could give the platform an ID or come up with some way of uniquely identifying which platform we're in. And then I could snap the car to its Y position, take away the height of the car when I know that he's landed. But we don't need to give it an ID. We're already iterating through. So maybe that's possible actually. Right, go to here, check landing, set grounded. At this stage, IX is still the correct platform. So IX plus 2 is the Y position. I haven't got player height yet, I don't think. Getting sick of all them magic numbers though. I've got loads of them in there right now. That's how I've been dealing with them. Is it okay to just use HL like that? Yeah. So I'm going to say it's positioned directly, nothing to do with the target. To that new position. See how that works. Hopefully we should sit just on top of the platform. I'm not sure though whether this will let us take off or whether it will just keep us in that position forever. That's looking good. Oh, unfortunately, we still got the cyan effect. As you can see, I'm not falling into the platform anymore. I'm getting right away from the top. Perfect. Right, that's an old school approach. That's like what I used to do ages ago when I first started, and then I learnt better ways. I was able to stop with Unity. I could stop the guy walking into the wall. I wouldn't need to do the snapping. But that looks a lot better. And what I don't get is now why did the cyan happen? Because that is nothing to do with the target. It's all to do with the position. I do this first, and you can see clearly that it's not colliding. Nice snap. It does look good. It's not quite good enough because there must be that one frame where you don't even see it, but obviously the computer knows it. I wonder, do we even need grounded? I've set the velocity to 0. Of course. Do move. If I get rid of the comparer on do move, and I move that to the do gravity, so now do move is getting called every frame. So the target will still be able to move, but it won't move down. Might work, I'll try it. Nah, it seemed to happen even before we reached the platform there. I'd love to put a breakpoint in there right now. Perhaps I should. Do you know, that's another thing, I keep banging on about this next, but I read a guy's blog, and it has nothing to do with DZOG, but he uses C-Spect. He writes his own almost lightweight version of DZOG where he creates something called a map file, and then that now allows you to put these breakpoints right there, or wherever you want, in this editor, and it creates a map file when it builds the next file. Somehow that can work. I still haven't managed to get right into it yet. Seems like, well, he says directly that you can place the breakpoints in your code editor. But they don't work here with this C-Spec setup that I'm doing now. I wish I knew why. I thought that was the whole point of getting DZOG. But it'll go cyan without breakpointing. Don't even know how you add breakpoints in here or anything. I'd have to say, as a novice, ZX Spin was the best one for using breakpoints that I've used so far. Because I can't remember which one of you it was who really showed me how to do it, but once I figured out how to see my code in ZX Spin, it was actually pretty easy adding the breakpoints in. That's what we need here. We need a breakpoint to see exact cycle that this triggers. Spin is nice for that, but there's only so many tools I can have. I've got a really bad PC. I'm running streaming deck. I'm running all sorts of stuff, you know. So the more apps I have, it just gets more stressful. But eventually, I might have to go into it and look at it because you know I can't. There's only so many things I can try with trial and error. You know. That looked like it was triggering just before I hit the platform. The trouble is, what's old? Sorry. Oh, this shit. Yeah, true that. Like Unity has so much documentation getting added, you know, and tutorials all the time. Same as Unreal Engine or anything like that. With Specky, it's all like hobbyists, really, isn't it? The majority. When I say that, I mean even the tutorials and stuff. I'll just guess I'm gonna have to try and have a look at it a bit and see if I can see when it triggers. Might be able to just change it to a different color here. Shame. Seems like it's like one frame before you land, or maybe the exact same frame. See that scene before again, and I find that really weird because I don't use the target. I'm using the physical position, and I'm only using the upper byte. So really should be exactly the same as the screen position. It's got to be something just in the update loop, I think. Just the order. Try these above everything. You'd think that would make not much difference at all. Zero difference. I've seen weirder things with the coder. Now it at least seems what it's after you've landed. Hmm. Oh, problems. 20 lands. Oh, look at that. It managed to not snap. Snapping seems to not work in that. Broken it. Put it back. Oh, that's why. I can't see this being this helping, but I'm going to try it anyway. Oh, hello. Ah, when I took off, so the same thing occurred. But that's good, it detected it when I drove through it. Ah, and that time it got away, it was proper. We're getting closer. Much closer. The flickering is because I'm setting it so quickly. If you see a flicker, it means it's detecting a collision. Bad one, a death collision. It just did it then as well. The reason is when I'm taking off, you see my code is checking if it's grounded. For some reason it still thinks it's colliding. I've got a hacky way of fixing this. We keep the landing one just the same, but on the collision one, we'll just shrink the Y. So that would be sub 1 here again. Well, I'm not too worried about the bottom. Just try that. Basically, yeah, it gives you a bit of leeway. Shouldn't actually matter for us. Because if you fly up into it, or left or right, it's going to still trigger. Might work this. Oh god, I'm starting to bloody hate this. Whatever this workflow is that I've got here, it's not good. I mean, it's not that bad. But it's because I have to press. Well, you don't have to. Platforms work. That's looking good. The test will be, can I drive through it or not without it flickering? I want it to flicker. Yeah, it did. Awesome. I think it's hacky, but it works. Ghost collisions, I think we know what that means. It's context. That's pretty cool. Go to this border stuff now. So I'll leave this one just for a second, do another test. If the border goes cyan, the player's dead. Because we'll be able, in the real space taxi, if your velocity is too high when you land, even if it's a safe landing like this, you'll still die. But that's quite easy to measure velocity. Take the land. The screen here is much smaller than the original space taxi game. We're going to have to be more forgiving to the player. Hey, there you go. So yeah, repeating myself all the time, very hacky, but no one cares how it's coded when they're playing the game, do they? They're just playing it. Doesn't matter how we get there in the end. I'd love to know how much space we've used because it's pretty goddamn inefficient, isn't it, on space? $49 kilobytes. You've got to take into account our 6 kilobytes for the. Yeah, cheers, Moz. That is looking pretty smart. I'm happy with that, actually. I mean, there's no reason why we couldn't make a bigger sprite, really. The only reason I am not doing that is because I'd probably have to rewrite my buffering window and make it the whole width of the screen, I think. Quite tight enough as it is for space. See what to add next. I mean, I could easily pull the color routine from my other games, which draws the UI one color and the game window black or whatever. That'd make the game look a lot better, wouldn't it? Color it in. But that's nothing new that I haven't seen before. I do that seem to be, on a daily basis. This is at least a bit different. Bit annoying that you can drive off here. What would you say to do to stop them doing that? Would it be death if you get to there? How do you deal with that? Of course, it's going to be a different colour. You'll know there's a boundary there. But the same with the roof, yeah? We can't just let them drive through there. I think in the Space Taxi, they do have a platform going across the top. It opens up when you can go to the next level. Go to the other side. Is that what happens in real Space Taxi? It actually screws our code up if you allow that. It doesn't cater for wrapping at all. So although it looks like it does, the collision detection will be out, everything will be out, all the positional values. I'll add some more platforms in, that's something easy. Well, fun if you're sad like me. So we have one along the top. It starts from 2. That's what I'm going to do, Moz. It's easier. I liked your idea, Micro, but that's another whole session, that learning how to wrap the screen. I'm sure it's not that hard. It can probably fit in with what we've got. But I remember doing it on asteroids, and oh my god, it gets confusing. I just have a look bit by bit. That's the beauty of developing using Windows, isn't it? We can just run it every 2 seconds. Look at that beauty. That's basically defining our screen size already, isn't it? I think with the bottom, I don't need a platform. I'll just detect if he goes to this position and kill him. I won't even waste space on the platform. I need some graph paper, don't I? I'm sick of looking at a grey window. Put that there. It helps me work it out, the sizes, for some reason. So unfortunately, my platforms, I have no way of drawing vertical platforms. I'm just going to have to create a load, which is really annoying. That is annoying. That's brilliant. You got to use the skills in that now, FIFA, aren't you? There's all sorts of little tricks. You can't let the kids win. That's brilliant. Have you ever seen the episode of Simpsons where Bart smashes him on the boxing, and then Homer goes down the arcades for like 3 solid days or something, learns how to how to beat everyone. Can't let the boy win. This is a bloody boring task now, but maybe I should develop, should draw these in an algorithm, do them separate. Father of the year, yeah, role model of the year. I decided to put them into the array here because otherwise I've got to come up with a separate collision routine for the sides as well. Either that or I could have just left them blank and just let people learn you don't go to near the side or you die. That might have been in fact that's a better way of doing it. Because if you remember the way I've made this, there's a gutter at each side. So you can legally drive in there and not die. But I'm only gonna let that's well weird. There's some platforms have gone. Wait there. We're missing a platform. Oh, I put them all in the same place. Not sure how that happened. Cheat code. But you're right, that'd be the best. Why does political correctness have to take over? They'd probably get banned if they put that code in again. Are you playing a single player mode then? Was I used to like playing as just one player. I'm a little bit concerned. I think when I had a lot of platforms there, it was messing up because I didn't disable the interrupts. I used to prefer Pesmos, but then I became a FIFA player. But I'm not that into either. At one point, I was pretty into FIFA, but back in the early days, it was Pez all the way for me. That was a long time ago. I think it was called ISS back then. One racer. There's some amazing F1 games back in the old days. Microprose one, and a few others. It's always been top range games. F1, I find, like the real creme de la creme of gaming. I can never do it though. It's too realistic. I need the steering wheel, the seat, everything. I'm like, this is so realistic. How can you play it with like non-realistic controls at this stage. I should probably come up with some constants for where the platforms are. Or maybe a better way. Eight. The eight's unnecessary. They're all eight. I use it in a collision, but I could of course just use a constant. That's a little optimization I need to do soon. It allows us to have more platforms. So that looks. Hey, that's a bit more like it. Wasn't I saw some non-smooth movement. All of a sudden there's some non-smooth sort of left and right movement. I didn't notice any of that before. Although it's still pretty fantastic, to be honest. Oh, I'm dead. Good. Yeah. Suddenly thought it wasn't killing us then. Black card. The black card situation. I could live in Red Dwarf world, I reckon, where just everything's related to Red Dwarf in one way or another. Funny as well, because I've been watching through all the Star Treks. But to me, they're just nothing as good as Red Dwarf, you know? Yeah, yeah, it's a black card situation. For some reason, when the game crashes like that, my brain also locks up and I just can't think. I have to get it back looking normal. So how many platforms do we want? Obviously, this is going to be a very cheap imitation of Space Taxi. Okay, we're not going to be winning any awards with this and beating Space Taxi. Yes, I need some way now to number. I do need to give IDs to the platforms so that we can spawn people on there. I suppose I could go off their height as long as I don't have any on the same height. Let's let's try and get rid of that 8 in the array. Every time it's going to be 8. So. Really as simple as that. No, not. That was the X. Oh god. Oh, it didn't kill me. Damn. That didn't work. Try one time. Never gonna stop doing that. Oh, so it did that time. So if I went too quick, that's what happened. So I think it did work. It was probably a problem that was already existing. I could actually set these to be the ID, couldn't I? Yeah, that's fine. It just looks for false anyway. That's good. So no need for any extra data usage there. It's strange, left and right. Sometimes feels butter. That's a bit worrying as well. Oh, it didn't even compile that last one. For some reason, that top one struggles with. I'd say it's because you can get quite fast. I bet if I get really fast, I'll probably miss through that other one as well. I can probably fix it in the player draw. That crash, I mean. Because Y basically goes over, goes past 0 and then it goes over. It goes to 255. That might just stop it drawing it and therefore stop the crack. Whoops, what have I done? I don't know if the car will ever come back though. Next stuff, shall I do it? Yeah, let's do it then. You're up for that? I'll just check this worked. I'll be surprised if it does. Oh, it does look. But yeah, the car never comes back, but that doesn't matter. We don't need to give it. That's good. That's very good. So that's the end of this little session on Space Taxi. Okay. Well, I've kind of come to an end with it anyway. I'll show you what I did with next, but it is very complicated. Let's have a look here. I have to switch windows. Oh, yeah. So here's where I keep all my development stuff. And in fact, just let me pause here for a second, roll myself a smoke. And the reason for this, because I'm lazy. When I edit this, I'm going to edit it for YouTube, and I want to be able to easily find this spot, and then I'll do a little fake intro, just explaining what I'm doing, because I'm going to try and make a concise setup video for setting up a dev environment in the next. Like I say, I've got the thing booting, it runs my code. I've managed to change the border color, I've managed to write the screen, and that's it. But that's a start. So I'll start that in less than a minute.